Do you study psychology in order to be a more effective salesperson?
I wouldn't say I study psychology. I would say I just look at data of business because the one advantage that I have is I have a huge amount of data that I sit on top of between the companies that we invest in, the companies that come use our services on the advisory division, and the companies companies we own are the companies we invest in. And so it's like I get to see a lot of different data. And so when we make changes into a sales process or a change in terms of an offer, I could see the improvements in conversion rates. And so that's where a lot of my like theses have come from.
Are you ever surprised by the data, or is most of it kind of just confirming your intuition?
All the time. I get surprised all the time.
What's been like one of the biggest surprises about this data?
Yeah, we had a company that sells B2B services, and I had this guess that based on basically we could collect the data of the size of the revenue of the companies that were basically leads that were coming in the funnel. And so I wanted to shut off the bottom third of the leads because they were the lowest revenue leads and just have the team focus on the top 2/3. And so I was like, hey, just pull the sales data because I'm going to bet that all the conversion's happening on the top end. And the conversion rate was actually evenly spread. And so I was like, like almost to the percentage point. And I was like, that is not what I would have expected. And again, that could be unique to that specific business. I would still posit that in general, more qualified customers buy on average more and spend more money just in this particular business. And maybe that means that business is mispriced, which would be a different problem. But given that data, I was like, that's interesting. We have people who are 10 times the size buying at the same rate as people who are 1/10 the size. Wild. And it's way more of a stretch for these people than it is for these people. So maybe we're missing our messaging.
Did you ever find out why? Have you dug into that and gotten to the bottom?
It's a great question because like I try. It's really hard to say why because like I think a lot of people like to use because it's very compelling. But I just try and stick with like this is the data that I have within this given context, and in this situation it worked. And I know there are principles like things that are fast will sell better than things that are slow. Things that are easy will sell better than things that are hard. Things that are risk-free will sell better than things that are not risky. Like I can take that to the bank. So like I try and think like what are the few principles that will always be true, and then the rest is application.
What's something that you track within a business that most people don't even look at?
I'll give you a handful of metrics that I track. So you'll be like, I didn't need that many. So if I had to solve for two things, it would be gross margin and revenue retention. So fundamentally, like what do we make per sale in terms of like is there a lot of margin that's there? If so, like that's more attractive to me. And then secondarily, how likely is that this person is going to continue to buy from us next year and the year after that? So if I have a business that I have hypothetically 100% gross margins and 100% revenue retention, that's an amazing business. They literally just print money and they never lose it. Like that's cool. That's a very attractive business. So if I only knew those two things, the only other thing I'd want to know is what's my cost to acquire a customer versus my lifetime gross profit per customer. So how much money does it cost me to get somebody, and then how much do they pay me over time? And so basically that fundamental, the LTV to CAC ratio or LTGP to CAC ratio, I know fancy acronyms, but that ratio between those two numbers is the fundamental economic arbitrage that exists within businesses. And fundamentally, that's why private businesses will get the highest returns in terms of returns on capital. Because in so few places, like if you were to put it in the S&P 500, those companies are already at scale and it's harder for them to grow, at huge percentages. Maybe let's say you put $1,000 in and you get 10%, so you're $1,100 at the end of the year. In a business, you could put $1,000 into paid ads and make $30,000 in gross profit in 24 hours. Like that happens all the time. And so it's like, that's how somebody can go from $0 to a billionaire in 4 years because the returns on capital are absurd. And this is also what I think one of the big opportunities of social media is that like, okay, why is social media so powerful? It's because it drives CAC to zero.
Do you trust customer satisfaction?
I take it as I'll take surveys. So we survey across all the companies that we have because I like to have leading indicators in terms of like what's going on. I care more about the reason whys that they give. It's kind of like the comment section. Like I care more about that, but I care far more about renewal rates. So if we're getting bad scores but everyone's buying, then I'd be like, okay, well we found something that people need but hate that they have to buy from us, and they'll be very quick to switch. But as of right now, there's no one else who can do it either better, faster, or cheaper than we can. But I would renewal rate, like how you spend your money is what I care the most about.
Sure.
And I would say what you think. It's kind of like, what do you want? And people are like, I want faster horses versus the car. So it's like, I care about that a little bit, but I care far more about what the data suggests about purchasing behavior.
When you make an offer to somebody and they say, no, I'm not interested, how often is that able to be turned around?
Across what setting? Is that in a sales setting?
In a sales setting.
I think it depends on the reason the person said no. So that would be there would be a discovery question after that. So it'd be like, well, what are the variables you're using to make the decision? And sometimes, like, I think there's a big difference between a no based on value, or a no based on details, or a no based on authority, or a no based on timing. Like, just kind of said, budget, authority, and timing. These are the kind of the components. Well, how do we make sure that we can I overcome some of these issues? Now, if someone's like, love what you have, I don't buy coats because I live in Panama. I'm like, okay, there's no need. Like, I could try it. So whatever, like, hey, I've got a gym membership. Why aren't you signing up? It's like, well, you're in Iowa and I live in Florida. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm never gonna get there.
No.
Like, so it's like where
Yeah.
it depends on the reason for the no.
What if it's a price issue?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line between lowering the price and cheapening the product,
never lower
but
the price.
getting someone who's qualified,
Yeah.
or keeping the price the same but losing the sale?
Yeah. So I'm a very firm believer in never negotiating with terrorists, including price terrorists. And so if someone wants to if someone says, hey, can you do it for cheaper? We train on saying, like, we can do it for more. And people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. I'll buy at that price. But the price that you quote is the price that you stick to. Otherwise, as soon as you negotiate once, every price you have is negotiable, which sucks as a business. It is a pain in the butt, and I hate it. So, and you want price standardization anyways, because you don't want different people getting sold different prices. People could talk. It kind of sucks. So, my big thing is price and terms. And so if we have this price, if I'm going to change it, then I will also change terms. So if someone's like, hey, I would love to buy the $5,000 thing, but I can't afford it. If we've already looped a couple times and said, okay, why can't you afford it? How important is this to you? What would it cost you to not do this? We quantify as many of these things as possible. And they're still like, I literally just don't have this amount of here's my bank account. I have $3,000. I will buy it for $3,000. Then in that instance, like, I can't ethically sell you the same thing as somebody else for $5,000 for $3,000. I can't do it. What I can do is I can remove a component. So let's look at these things that we have here. We have this guarantee. I can remove the guarantee and I can knock $1,000 off. Does that work? Okay. Also, instead of, coming to the gym, 3 times a week, if you come to the gym twice a week, will that work for you? Great. Well, let's just do that, and you can do one workout at home. So I'll want to change the terms of the agreement if I'm going to change price, but I won't just say, sure, I'll do it for less. I just won't do that.